Hey YouTube, how are you doing? Now, since I have passed my full bike license, it is time for me to get rid of my CB125F by Honda, which will be a shame actually because I've enjoyed this bike. So before I part ways with it, I thought I would give a quick review video and let you know my thoughts, what I do like about it and what I don't like about it before it goes to its new owner. So I'm going to have a little walk around the bike and show you some bits that I do and don't like, and then we'll go for a little bit of a ride and I'll talk to you about the ride and all that stuff. Okay, so first things first, it's really important that if you're looking for a CB125F, it's very important that you can actually fit on the bike. Now, the bike says you've got a pretty low seat height. I'll put the height, it actually is the actual dimension on the screen just here. But to give you an indication, I am 5'11", and I can easily flat foot it with bent legs. So it's got a really nice low height for shorties and whoppers like me. But yeah, it's really easy to get on and off of. You've got a nice big area at the back because it's not got a really pronounced rear pillion seat. Basically, it's really easy to swing your leg over, even for a big one, with this tail tidy bag on there as well. So getting on and off of the bike, very easy. So I'm just going to jump on the bike now and sort of talk you through the controls. Okay, ergonomically it is pretty well laid out, to be honest with you. It hasn't got a lot of in the way of mod cons on this bike, but what we have got is a fuel gauge at the top there. I will say this bike is very frugal. When you fill it up, that literally will not move for ages. Little odometer or overall mileage just count just here, and then it's got a trip count as well, which you can adjust just by twiddling this. You have to twiddle the numbers around just like so, and that will change all that. In the middle you've got a gear indicator, which is very handy to have, particularly from a learner's point of view. The CB125S is very popular as a learner's bike, you know, because a lot of the motorcycle training schools use them for CBTs, I guess, and there's a reason for that. But you have on this model got a gear selector dial on there, which is fantastic to have. However, on a sunny day when you've got the sun behind you, you cannot see that at all. It's just literally a reflecting sun mess. So you know, you can't see, but obviously you've got a big crash helmet on, you can block the sun. Just lean forward, it blocks the sun out, and then you can see what's going on there. You've got a little neutral gear selector indicator just here, which is handy. The engine management light, which hopefully you will never see on, I haven't, and also a dipped and main beam light just here. You've got a little switch just on the left handle just here for normal beam, main beam. Okay, and also indicators, my finger's bleeding, indicators just here on the dashboard as well. Again, fantastic on an overcast day like today, but when it's super sunny, can't really see them that great. And also just press the center button just here. This is the indicator just here. Press the center just to cancel, and you've also got a little horn which only works when the ignition's on. So that is that. The mirrors, they're okay, you can see what's going on behind you, and they're fully adjustable. These will rust or get surface rust anyway, so I've gone over them with some Rust-Oleum sort of hammerite black paint just to make it look a little bit tidier. Same going on the other side. You've got a brake fluid reservoir there with a handy little peep mirror, and you've got your engine kill switch just there, and your throttle. Same as any other bike just there. One thing I did not like about this bike is the fact there is nowhere on it that's got a little clock. So I've just added this little £2 jobby from Amazon or eBay or somewhere like that. It's just self-adhesive and it sticks on there. Come on, Honda, probably cost you about £1 to add a clock on here somewhere, so sort it out. In fact, you probably have with your later ones because they got LCD screens and stuff like that. But on this particular model, which is a 2019 model year, no clock, pretty annoying for someone like me who's always in a rush. Anyway, as far as bars go, you have got a whole bunch of real estate here. I have fitted onto this bike, I've had a Insta360 clamp just here. I've also had the full whack quad lock charging, wireless charging unit fitted on the front here horizontally, which I'll try and show you a little picture here. There's a video of me fitting it, so if you're interested in how to fit one of those on a CB125F, you can go and check that out. There's a little card up here somewhere. But yeah, that fits in there nice, and with the phone mounted horizontally, you can still use your sat nav and anything else you need to use on it, but it doesn't cover any of the indicators or the ignition switch and all that other sort of stuff, so that is very handy. Also, whilst we're here, you've got your fuel filler cap. Now you just to undo this, you basically just give it a twiddle with your key, you know, your main key, and it just pops right off. My one's actually got a little cover, swing cover off here, which covers up the actual barrel. That's missing, but it doesn't bother me because I'll never use it in the rain anyway. So that is pretty much it. I'll make sure the stand's down before jumping off. So the clutch on this, I mean, this will differ between different bikes, but this is super nice. It doesn't bite really quickly, it doesn't take ages to engage. It's just a nice gradual bite on this, and obviously your front brake lever just here, which has got a nice feel. The brakes aren't great on the CB125F. I mean, generally speaking, it is a beginner bike, or like quite a basic bike, but in the UK in particular, you have to go through a 125 to get to a bigger license. So everyone who gets a full bike license will have a 125 at one stage, unless they've done it all, past their tests. But some people, oldies like my dad, didn't have to do a test. But anyone going through the system now will have to go through a 125, and the brakes on it are not great. Granted, I'm about 19 stone, so it's got a lot of braking and stopping that needs doing, but they could be a little bit better. Even though, you know, the brakes are all in good condition and working properly, could do with a bit more power. You've got your rear brake pedal just here. Actually, I find the rear brake is much more effective than the front brake, which is nice and ergonomic with your foot peg just here. I found when I was doing my CBT, I did my CBT on actually a CB125F identical to this, and I was riding along resting my foot on the brake pedal, and my CBT instructor basically was having a go at me constantly for having the rear brake on, just sort of dragging the brake a bit, because I had clunky boots on. I couldn't feel that I was resting it on there. Anyway, I've since sorted that out, and now it's in a really great place, and it's quite easy to keep your feet off it when you don't need it. But the rear brake, very effective actually. I'm very impressed with the rear brake, even though it's just a drum brake, cable operated drum brake just there. If you get to a stage where you decide you want to carry pillions, or you do your full license and decide to go for a 125F, you can carry a pillion on here. You've actually got the foot pegs here, also the one on the other side as well. There's no grab handle for them to grab onto, so they will have to put their arm around your waist. So if you're fat, I hope they've got long arms. Another nice thing, the suspension is actually adjustable on these, at least at the rear. You can adjust the preload just by twisting it just here. I've not done it, but it's got loads of different notches and different sections which will lower and raise this plate, which will adjust the preload on the springs. Actually, I'm a pretty hefty guy, and I find the ride of this pretty good, to be honest. The roads here on the Isle of Wight are absolutely abysmal, but actually pretty decent suspension for a basic bike. I've been fine with it. You've got your number plate just here as well, and this is pre-drilled with some holes for an L plate, which fits just here. There's also plenty of space on the fork legs for you to fit L plates, which indeed mine were fitted just here on the bottom of the fork leg. But I actually printed a L plate, stuck it on there, and applied it with heat so it would sort of mould to the shape of this moulding just here at the fairing on the front, and then cut it so it was all just this shape here with an L in the middle. No problem whatsoever. But if you want to do it all properly and by the book, you have got plenty of space on the forks. Decent indicators, they are flexy, so if you drop the bike or you knock into it or whatever, then you know, you're not going to have any issues just there. Nice big rear brake light. You will find with these, because it's quite a budget bike, basically the exhaust will start to go brown pretty quickly. This one's really good actually, considering the bike's 5-6 years old, but these will start going rusty. You can see this is all going rusty up here, but this part in particular, you can see just there, start going rusty. The back boxes normally get really bad, and if you're looking for a bike, do look out for little bits of damage like this, because that means someone's dropped the bike. Again, this one's not too bad for a bike that's 5 years old. I reckon it's probably been on its side once or twice, and these will pick up pitting because it's not great quality chrome work, but this looks nice on the bike, and you'd have to really scrutinize it to realize that there's anything up there. Little 125 motor. I think it's got about 14 brake horsepower, so it's learner legal here in the UK. It doesn't have much in the way of oomph. Obviously 14 brake horsepower, next to nothing, but it doesn't weigh anything really. It's very easy to handle. I mean, for myself being a hefty guy, it's just like moving a feather around. But some people, you know, short ladies and all that kind of stuff, you know, who aren't so strong, might find it a little bit more of a struggle. But I find it very easy to move around. Looks wise, I think it's quite a nice looking bike, to be honest with you. When I was looking for a bike, I wanted a CB125R, which is like the Neo cafe racer style, because I just think they look fantastic, despite being a 125. But when I wanted one, I couldn't find one for love nor money on the Isle of Wight, so I decided to start widening my search to include the 125F, because I used it on my CBT, and I found this one locally, and it was just in good condition, and it had been kept in a garage most of its life, so it hasn't got the usual rust all over it like a lot of them will have by this age. So do check, if you're looking for a bike of this age, check it over for rust and stuff like that. It's normal on the exhaust, but other places have a little bit of a dig. You know, obviously living by the sea here, it's going to be worse because there's a lot of salt air around, salt in the air and stuff like that. But this one's fine. I have gone to the trouble of making a reflective stealth wrap for this one, but they do have some quite nice snazzy graphics, bit 90s if I'm being honest, but you know, it's a smart looking bike, and it has to appeal to all markets around the world rather than just the UK, so that's what they went for. The rear springs here have faded somewhat. You can twist them round, but it's never bothered me, and it's only slightly discoloured from the red around here. They're meant to be red, they look a bit pink, but that has not bothered me at all. You have got access under the seat again, which uses the key, and you've got this little, just turn it in there, twist it round to the right, and it will pop up. There is an art to putting the seat back on. It's pretty awkward if I'm being honest with you. It might just be this bike, it might be all of them, but there's a lot going on obviously under the seat of a motorcycle. But the battery, as it happens, is behind this little cover just here. You've got like a little chain guide down here, don't know if you can see that, that tells you how tight the chain should be and tyre pressures and all that sort of stuff. And it's easy just to adjust the chain just here, using these tension screws, etc, etc. But this chain is very easily accessible for lubricating and just sort of checking overall condition and all that kind of thing. So that pretty much covers the bike in its static form. I am just about to get on the bike and ride my last ride on it, because I have actually sold this bike. It's sold very quickly. There is always a buoyant market for 125s. Like I said, everyone who goes through the system here in the UK has to get on a 125, so very easy to sell, and I've actually sold it for more than I paid for it, so an excellent financial choice there. Not a lot, but I haven't spent any money on it really either, so all good. Right, let's get on the bike and say my farewell to the old girl. Okay, so here you join me on my final voyage on this lovely CB125F. I'm going to miss it. Obviously, there's no substitute for a big bike once you're able to, but I did toy with the idea of keeping this and just using it as like a post office bike, which is why I purchased it in the first place. But realistically, I'm probably not going to use it that much now that I can use a bigger bike, which I'm on the verge of getting. So this is it, and it is time for the girl to go. Okay, ride wise, people say they're really slow and all that. I've not really found that, but I'm not into motorcycling to go fast, but I find it quite peppy, to be honest with you. The only time it struggles is to get up to speed up hills, which I'll show you in just a second. There's a big hill coming up just down here. It does struggle a bit in 5th gear, but I can whiz up there in 50 miles an hour in 4th gear, no problem at all, as long as you get a bit of a run up. So really, if anyone sort of tells you that they're a bit slow, just don't listen to them, because it's fine. It's a learner's bike, it's not designed to go fast, but it will get you up to speed, no problem at all. And actually through the twisty bits, it's quite nimble to throw around a little bit. When you first pass your test, you try and keep the bike as upright as possible, but you can get the bike leant over a little bit. Well, you can probably get it leant over a lot if you're better than me. But just a really nice smooth ride. Going fast, it doesn't have much in the way of protection from the wind. You've got a little bit of a fairing where I said that I put my L plate, but it doesn't give you much in the way of protection. So if you go in any faster than this, you get blown about a bit, but you soon get used to it. When I first started riding it and I started going fast on it, I was like, wow, this has got to hang on for dear life, but now it's absolutely fine. And actually, one thing I will say about these bikes, they've got fantastic engine braking. So whilst the brakes aren't anywhere near as good as the bigger bikes I rode whilst doing my DAS, they are fantastic for slowing down by going down the gears. This one hasn't been messed about with, but you can go ahead and put a loud exhaust and do all sorts of stuff to it. I follow a guy on Instagram, goes by Loki 2 Wheels, and he's really pimped up his 125. I'll try and put a link to his Instagram and stuff just here, and probably try and show you his bike, because his looks way different to this. Obviously a different colour, but there's loads of parts that have been changed on his, and he absolutely loves it. It's not my cup of tea, but I can appreciate that people like to do that sort of thing. And there is, like I say, a large market for 125s. A lot of youngsters ride them as well, so a lot of people will change them. I was lucky to find this one that someone hadn't played with. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So the gear changes are smooth. You have got the gear selector pedal on the left hand side. It is adjustable. You just undo a little screw or bolt, and basically you can move it around on the splines so that it fits nicely under whatever footwear. If you've got bulky boots, you might want to lift it up a bit, but I've now got these Alpinestars, sort of like riding sneaker boots, and they're a pretty low profile, which I love about them. So there's plenty of space between my foot and the bottom of the clutch lever. And the gear change is actually very precise. This bike's done nearly 13,000 miles now, but the gear change is just fantastic. Seat wise, yeah, it's got a bit of padding. I mean, you can tell looking at it, it's just a basic shape. It's got really not a lot going on in the way of ergonomics to fit your batty, but I have gone on some longer rides on this, you know, a couple of 3 hours, and by the end of it my arse is a little bit you know, tender. But it recovers quickly and you know, you kind of forget about it before the next ride. But you can get seat cushions and stuff for these aftermarket, which will help you if you're going to have issues with that. We'll also raise the seat up a bit if you are struggling. I'm pretty sure you can actually lower these as well, so they're a little bit lower for shorter riders. I don't know if this one's been done, but there's certainly not any issue for me with ground clearance anyway. Well, I'm approaching my last few 100 meters now, so it is a sad time for me, because I'll be honest with you, wasn't really into motorbikes when I got this, because I just wanted it to go to the post office on to save money, because it's really frugal. It does about 150 miles to the gallon, but I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, forget it. It's just really cheap to run. I've done about 700 miles on it now. I've filled the tank up twice and there's still half a tank left. It is just crazy. There's not many bikes out there that will top it. Come on. Yeah, so I wasn't really into motorcycles at all. I just bought it to save money, riding to the post office, but I quickly fell in love with it, and I have to say I really like this bike. It wasn't brand new when I bought it, obviously. There's much nicer looking bikes out there, but from a point of view of doing what I need it to do, it's great. What are you doing? and yeah, I can't fault it at all really, other than not having a clock. Well, this is it. Is it being collected by the new owner later on in just an hour or so, so I will definitely be sad to see this bike go, but onwards and upwards to bigger things. Right, I'm going to enjoy these last few meters and I'll touch base with you inside. Okay, well that is it. My final ride is now over on my Honda CB125F, and I have to say, overall it has been a fantastic bike. I mentioned previously it wasn't the most exciting bike to me because I've never really been into motorbikes, but from a perspective of doing the job that I needed it to do, I needed it to be reliable, I needed it to be powerful enough just to get me up hills, maybe not at the speed limit, but to get me up there because I'm quite a lump. And it's just done all of those things. It's so economical. Honestly, when you fill the petrol tank up, you will go for miles and miles and miles before the needle even budges. It's just brilliant. So would I recommend it as a first time bike or even as a commuter bike to save yourself some dosh? 100%. It is a fantastic bike. I've really fallen for this bike. I will genuinely be sad to see it go, but I haven't got space for two bikes. And my desires are in other directions, a different style of bike to this. So I am going to be moving in that direction. But if my boy ever wanted to do his CBT, I definitely would recommend one of these. They're so basic, engine-wise, mechanically, electrically. It's just really easy to work on things like this. So you'll never have a massive bill if anything does go wrong with it. So anyway, I hope you found this useful. If you have, don't forget to hit subscribe. There's a button just down there. It really helps me out as a channel and I really appreciate it. Did you like your CB125F? Leave a comment down below, and I'd love to know what you sold it in order to get when you got your bigger bike license. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That is it for today. Do check out my other videos. I've got a whole range of videos ranging from when I started thinking about riding a motorcycle all the way through to CBT, the Mod 1 training, Mod 2 training, all the tests and all that kind of stuff, and the theory, don't forget all that stuff. So do check out my other videos. But for now, catch you later.